All right, the wrap-up show on a Sunday evening. John Schaefer, Jim Russell. We're presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you are new to the wrap-up show, first of all, yes, that's a neon sign behind me. We'll get into that in a second. But you got to subscribe if you're a Padres fan. Subscribe by hitting the subscribe button down below. Jim, point to it for us.
It's
There
it's
it is.
there. It's down there.
Yeah, subscribe button's down below. You can hit the notification bell. You'll get future videos automatically. We're here for Padres fans. This is year-round Padres content. That's why we're doing this. Like these videos and follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We're answering questions tonight. We're getting into some of the trade rumors, and we're going to shoot down any possibility of Jake Cronenworth getting traded. But first, if you're shopping for auto, home, renters, or life insurance and you're in San Diego, you got to consider a San Diegan, a supporter of the wrap-up show, Mark Nimitz, at Farmers Insurance. If you own an electric vehicle, he's lowered rates on select electric vehicle models. That'll put money back in your wallet. He's got 10 plus years of experience. He's got unbelievable customer service. He's great with communication. And again, if you support this show and have any insurance needs, we have the link right down below. While you watch this, whether it's live or on the replay, as you're watching this, there's a link right down below. If you have insurance needs, if you're a supporter of the wrap-up show, Mark can help you and your family with your insurance needs.
All his information always is above my head. Phone number and email address, mnimitz@farmersagent.com. That's his email address. When you reach out to him, let him know that you watch the wrap-up show, you're big fans, and that's why you reached out to Mark Nimitz to help you out.
All right, before we get started, we see the comments coming in from the chat. We'd love your interaction here tonight. If you want to use the super chat feature, we'll definitely get your question or comment, or the super sticker feature. If you just support this wrap-up show, you can do the super chat or super sticker. Otherwise, we're going to get to some comments and questions. There we go. Thanks, Galileo.
Someone's excited about your voice.
I appreciate that. Should I turn up the sign, chat? Should I make the sign brighter?
Yeah. Yes. Turn that baby up.
Turn it up.
It's a late night, even though it's only like 8:40.
It's
a late night.
It's only 8:40. Yeah, you're right.
Dude, it feels so later just because it gets dark so early. I hate it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Is that too? That's a little bright.
I kind of like it though. No. I kind of like it.
Hold on. This thing. I don't know if this thing. I don't know what we paid
it's good.
for this thing.
No. You gotta turn it up higher. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. See, people like it. People want it to be turned up.
Oh, they want it up.
Yeah, they want it to be turned up.
All right.
There we go.
Okay. So again, we're gonna get to questions tonight. Before we do that, Jim, the idea, and listen, I'm all for ideas. It's the lockout. There's no problem tweeting out ideas. Okay. I mean, we're all for it. We come up with ideas all the time on the radio and for the wrap-up show. I'm going to shoot it down. You're going to shoot it down. The Padres aren't trading Jake Cronenworth. He's got a future in this organization. He's earned it the last 2 years. I understand C.J. Abrams is a middle infielder, and you got shortstop already locked up with Tatis. You can't concern yourself with what 2023 looks like when you got to win in 2022, and Abrams could probably play in the outfield as well. Jake Cronenworth is a regular, Jim, and he's under control, and he's not just a regular. He's like your third best hitter in this lineup over the last 2 years, if not even somewhere in that range. He's probably your third best hitter in this lineup the last 2 years. So as El Buddha says, don't trade Jake Cronenworth. He's not going anywhere, right, Jim?
No. Look, I understand with this lockout, the lockout turns into ideas that, probably would never be talked about if there were actual baseball activities happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But with nothing happening, I understand why some fans and people on Twitter or whoever are thinking of ways to improve the roster, or at least thinking of creative ways to move some pieces around. And I get it. Like, I understand. But again, it's not happening. Like, it's no way is Jake Cronenworth being traded. One of the reasons why they got rid of Adam Frazier was to kind of make sure that, Jake Cronenworth stayed at second base and to free up some roster flexibility. But it's not happening. Like, there's no chance that Jake Cronenworth's getting traded. He is one of the Padres' best players. Last year, you could argue, he played every day. He didn't miss any games with injuries. He just was a steady bat in the lineup every single day. His glove he played Gold Glove defense, arguably at
Mhm.
second base and first base and
And
shortstop.
short, he played a lot of short, yeah.
Like, I remember when he moved over to shortstop,
Mhm.
there was talks of like, okay, just keep him there. And when Tatis gets back, obviously, yes, he did go to the outfield, but they're like, well, should Tatis stay an outfielder because Cronenworth's so good at shortstop? In the end, it's no, Jake Cronenworth's going to be your second baseman. Fernando Tatis Jr. is your shortstop. That's how it is. But he plays three positions above average defensively for the Padres.
Mhm.
And he's a left-handed bat. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. He hits the ball at all directions of the field, left field, center field, right field. He's not just a pull guy. He is one of the most valuable pieces on this roster. So to trade him, I get it. Like, okay, you're looking towards the future. CJ Abrams is a guy that you're going to have to make some room for. Where are you going to put him? You're going to put him in center field. Well, he came up as a shortstop. If he's not going to play shortstop because of Tatis, then okay, then you're going to move him to second base. And it'd be much easier if Eric Hosmer wasn't on this team, because then you just put Cronenworth at first and then you have a spot open for CJ Abrams. But they traded
Well,
away
that's
Adam Frazier, and
yeah.
that's not happening.
Well, that's the other thing, to your point. I mean, it's not like the idea that Cronenworth, and that's right, Tom, people are bored on Twitter. The idea that
We're
Cronenworth
bored
is
too.
blocking we are. Cronenworth isn't blocking Abrams. This stuff always sorts
No.
itself out. That's a good problem to have, by the way. I think I'm the only one on the trade Cronenworth squad. If you do move Hosmer, like you said, then Cronenworth has a possibility of playing first base. If you don't move Hosmer, then you could put Abrams in the outfield. This stuff all
Mhm.
sorts itself out. It always
Right.
does. It's a good problem to have too many good hitters if that's ultimately what they have. What are you getting? I mean, what do you want for Cronenworth back? Yeah, he's coming off an all-star year, but why are you trading your starting second? He's a starting second baseman for a playoff caliber team.
Yeah.
Or as Danny says, he's the type of guy who ends up on a World Series team. Hopefully it's with the Padres. I mean, what are you asking for? I mean, what are you getting back? You're going to trade him for who? I mean, you want Matt Olson for Jake Cronenworth? Okay. You know what I mean? You want some of these A's starters for Jake Cronenworth? I mean, we could have the conversation. But I think you'd rather just plug him into second base. And if you move Hosmer, then plug him into first base in
Mhm.
2022.
Yeah. I think the only trade that's out there that's making people kind of like, is the guy you just said, Matt Olson.
Mm-hmm.
That also involves you getting rid of Eric Hosmer. You can't trade for Matt Olson unless you have Eric Hosmer off this roster.
True.
You just can't
Yeah.
do it. That, like, you have to do one thing at a time. I know Preller likes to do 7 things at a time, and he tries to do one thing with another thing, like a domino ready to fall somewhere else. But the fact of the matter is, while Eric Hosmer's on this team, the Matt Olson, dream is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And believe me, I want Matt Olson on this team more than anything. I think
Mm-hmm.
would be perfect. Like, if you had an infield of Matt Olson at first, Jake Cronenworth at second, Tatis at short, Machado at third, like,
Yeah, loaded.
stacked. It's one of the best infields in all of baseball right there,
Mhm.
offensively and defensively. So I get it, but you're not getting Matt Olson unless you trade Eric Hosmer. And to trade Eric Hosmer, it's going to cost a lot. And then maybe Jake Cronenworth, if you could trade for Matt Olson, but then you have a second base problem, you could put Kim there, but Kim's not good offensively at all. He's great defensively, but then you lose a lot with the bat. Like, you're getting rid of Cronenworth. Well, you're also getting rid of a guy that can hit you 25 homers a year.
Right,
So
if you're trading a middle infielder, you're trading Ha-Seong Kim. The problem is nobody wants Ha-Seong Kim at the at the payroll that you're paying him. I mean, you're paying him what, $8 million a year, something like that? What was the deal? 4 years?
fours for 27 or 28. It's a lot
Okay,
of
so you're
money
paying him
for a guy that
7.
it's just not doing it. I
Yeah,
get,
defensive replacement?
like, people love Hassan Kim. He's great to watch at times defensively. Offensively, it's just not even close to what they paid for. Like, just not even close. And
No, I
it's
mean,
a shame.
Cronenworth again, Jim, they're heading into this season with a payroll of like 190. I mean, even if you get rid of Hosmer, your payroll's still 170. I mean, Cronenworth is controllable and affordable. So if you're getting rid of Cronenworth and bringing on additional salary, that's not necessarily solving anything. Brandon says package Cronenworth and Hosmer to make Hosmer more marketable. Grab Olson and an outfield prospect in return. I mean, okay, so Cronenworth and Hosmer, you're not doing straight up for Olson and an outfield prospect because the A's aren't taking Hosmer's contract. So it either involves, I can't talk tonight. It either involves a third team or it involves you eating 80% of the Hosmer contract.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. And you trade, even if you think about trading Jake Cronenworth, like you got to get some, you got to get some really good value for him. And if that's Matt Olson, then that's great. But then you have a problem at second base, and then you also have to worry about trading Eric Hosmer first. Like if you don't trade Eric Hosmer first, you're not trading Jake Cronenworth. You're not even thinking about Matt Olson. That's just the order of how I think it has to go.
And to your point, CJ Abrams, who said that CJ Abrams is your starting second baseman day one of 2022? I mean, he's coming off a significant injury. They shut him down in fall ball as well, or winter ball. So, like, there's no assurance that CJ Abrams, you'd be potentially rushing him, obviously, to start him on the big league roster in 2022.
He
It
had a
worked for
major
Tatis.
injury last year, too.
Yeah, it worked for Tatis in 2019, but Tatis is like a generational player. I mean, hopefully Abrams is that guy, but there's no need to rush him.
Tatis
If
is
he
a
spends
one of
half a
one
year in the
player.
minors.
Let's be real here.
Yeah.
Like no one's Tatis, no one's Ohtani, no one's Trout. You know, like that's the thing is Tatis is a one of a one player. CJ Abrams might be great, but he's not Fernando Tatis Jr.
I'm with you. I just don't think that it's fair to necessarily say, hey, you got to be the big league starting second baseman day one. And oh, by the way, we need to win 95 games in 2022. Let's have him stay healthy and hit in AAA for a half year.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Suzuki. We could talk Suzuki. Before we talk Suzuki, Jim, what I want to do here for a moment, if we can, is to talk about StreamYard because we've got a deal for our viewers tonight. This is how we do this. If you want to podcast, if you want to start a YouTube channel, if you just want to live chat with someone, we've got a deal for you. 2 weeks free of StreamYard, no credit card required. Link down below. So this is what we use to do the wrap-up show. We had never done this before 3 months ago. Jim figured it out in like 20 minutes. Jim, you can tell our viewers more about it, but if you want to use StreamYard for free, like we do on the wrap-up show, just click the link down below. 2 weeks free, no credit card required.
Right. If you're watching this right now and you're thinking to yourself, I kind of want to do like a podcast or talk about the Padres or talk about your favorite football team or just, you know, anything you want. This is the easiest way to go about it. StreamYard, it's free. You can set up how it's being viewed. You can set up where you're streaming. You can stream on multiple platforms at multiple times. If you don't want to stream, it's easy to, you know, make a video, download it, and upload it to wherever you want on Facebook, Twitter, our favorite LinkedIn. Like you can go anywhere
LinkedIn
with StreamYard. And it's the way to go if you're thinking about doing a podcast.
The only rule they have is you can't do a Chargers channel. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's the one thing. StreamYard has that built in. If you do a Chargers channel, they actually charge you additional money.
Talk of the renters.
But click the link down below. 2 weeks free, no credit card required. All right, let's talk about Seiya Suzuki. I had Scott Miller on. Darren was out Friday. Jim, you were with me. Marty was with me. On Extra 1360, and we had Scott Miller on, New York Times, Bally Sports San Diego, longtime San Diegan and baseball writer, and he did throw out the name Seiya Suzuki as someone that would appeal to the Padres. He didn't say that he had inside knowledge to say that Seiya Suzuki is coming to San Diego, but he said he thought it made sense. They'd have to make it work from a payroll perspective, but this isn't. We've said this, Jim, from day one. This isn't the Castellanos deal. This isn't the 125. This isn't also the Pham deal, the 1 year, $6 million deal. This is between. There's a posting fee. You're going to get him for multiple years. He's probably going to cost you $15 to $20 million a year, but you're talking maybe 40, 50, 60, 70 for Suzuki as opposed to 125 plus for Castellanos, or again, the bargain deal, which is Tommy Pham, 1 year, $5.6 million.
Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I kind of want to stay away from Suzuki, honestly. You just look at that players coming over from Japan, the rate of success isn't that high. Like I can think of 3 guys: Ichiro, Matsuki, and Ohtani. That's it. Other than that,
hold on. I mean, the
who
list is
else? Who
the
else has
list is
been
maybe big time players, but the list is more significant than that. In terms of
okay?
Japanese players that have come over and had success?
Worth 70 or 80 million dollars.
Right, I got you. Okay.
I understand that players have come over from Japan, Korea, like, and they've done well, but
We're
not
talking
for
hitters. And we're
hitters,
talking
excuse
hitters.
me,
Yep. Mhm.
but not for 70, 80 million dollars.
Mhm.
And I see in the chat, like, pitchers. Yeah, pitchers obviously have done well uh in the States. I'm talking about hitters, like just
Yep.
purely hitters.
Mhm.
There's only a couple that you can think of that have actually really succeeded and lived up to the hype, so to say, and lived up to a massive contract that they've gotten. Just hitters, not pitchers, just
Yeah.
hitters. So
That's
for me, I would be a little scared, just a little scared, if you ended up paying 70 to 80 million dollars for Seiya Suzuki.
but man, the numbers, I mean, what are we I mean, you think it's misleading? I mean, maybe I get your point. It's a big investment and there's risk associated with it. This guy is like a 1,000 OPS, 40 home run caliber guy
But
who's
does he have this?
27.
I understand that, but is he a guy that's been talked about like Ichiro, like Otani a lot? Or is it just a
No.
recent thing because he ended up posting?
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't spend enough time watching Nippon professional baseball, but his numbers, like, it's not like it was a flash in the pan. He's had really good years for the last 5 years, and
Mhm.
he turned 27 in August. So you get all of age 27 until August of 2022. Like, if you sign him right now to a 4-year deal, you're getting 27, 28, 29, 30. I mean, what's there to fear? Yeah, there's the transition, and it's not Ha-Seong Kim, and you agree with that. I know that.
Right.
Ha-Seong Kim out of Korea, I thought they overpaid for Ha-Seong Kim. Based on what they paid for Kim, you make a good point. Suzuki could cost $100 million based on what they paid for Ha-Seong Kim. Let's see what Will has to say. Will, good to have you in the chat, by the way, tonight. I don't think Suzuki can be had in a bargain deal, but pretty ecstatic if we get him up against LA, Boston. I mean, no question. I mean, if the other bidders are those teams, to Will's point, and obviously there's interest in him, if those are the teams that are interested,
Mhm.
then maybe we're selling it short, Jim, at 60, 70, $80 million, to be honest with you.
Well, then I'm sorry, I don't wanna have anything to do with him.
Then you're
Like,
out.
I'm out. I'm already kind of, like, out the front, like, 1 foot out the front door already, but if you're talking about a deal close to $100 million, like, I am gone, like, nope, done. I'm sorry. I just I can't give a guy that much money when you don't know what you're really getting. Like, you don't know you don't know how he's gonna adapt to the American game, and you don't know how he's
Mhm.
gonna adapt to the pitchers that he's gonna be facing in the States. And look, he could be great. I could be wrong. He could turn into a perennial all-star, and it would have been worth it. But I just think that the risk of potentially spending almost $100 million for a
Mhm.
guy that's never played a game in Major League Baseball, that's tough. That's a tough one for
1,000
me.
1,072 OPS last year. I mean, take
Okay.
150 points off it. His career OPS 943. I mean, that's elite. And you've got one of those players in Tatis. You have another player that's capable of that type of production in Machado. Jake Cronenworth is not a 940 OPS guy.
Mhm.
And I don't know if Seiya Suzuki is either, but shoot, even if he goes from 1,000 to 800, you're getting a lot more production than you did out of Tommy Pham. Now you're paying for it too. That would be my point, Jim. If you don't land a Suzuki or a Castellanos, and I understand it, it's going to be hard to land either. Where are you turning for your outfield in 2022? Like when I get it. The problem is there's not a lot. Like where's the middle?
The
Like
middle?
who's the yeah? Like what's the middle ground? Is it Schwarber, Soler? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But Schwarber, you
I'm
might be paying 60 something $1 million for.
I'm kinda curious to see what Soler and Schwarber are gonna get, because I have Schwarber pegged around, like, 60 mil like a 3-year, $60 million deal.
Yeah.
I have Soler I think he's going to get paid around 50, 60, and I don't think he should be paid that much
Mm-hmm.
money because I don't think he's a guy that you look at as an everyday outfielder. He had a great postseason and a great World Series, but to give that guy $60 million, I think that's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's kind of like the middle for me.
So you
But
take Schwarber. Okay, so you probably take Schwarber at 60 over Suzuki for anything more than that.
yeah, I would. And even if Schwarber can't play the outfield, you have him for an option at DH. You have him for an option at first base, whatever happens to Hosmer, if he's with the team or if he's not with the team. But, I think that Schwarber's bat, I feel more comfortable with giving him that like a $60 million deal than I would say a Suzuki. Just because I've seen Schwarber do it.
Yeah.
I saw him last year when if he just didn't get hurt, dude probably could have had 40 plus home runs. He was on a tear. And when he's healthy, Schwarber is one of the most dangerous bats in all of baseball. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. No, you're right. He's a proven professional hitter. You know what you're getting. 3 years is a lot of years for a guy that was just on a prove it deal for 1 year.
Mhm.
$60 million is a lot of dollars as well. But I think you're right. I think he probably gets between 15 and 20 a year. And I think he gets multiple years. So yeah, he could end up getting $60 million. I love the promise of Suzuki. I'm with you. Are you spending $100 million? Are you jeopardizing your career if you're AJ Preller on Seiya Suzuki? Probably not.
No,
Are you moving hell and earth or heaven and earth
no. Hell on
to
earth.
get him? You might have to move hell and earth to
Yeah.
do it. So yeah, I'm with you. I understand the trepidation potentially, but
Mhm.
I don't want to see Tommy Pham on a 1 year deal. I know we know what Tommy Pham is,
No, I get
which has
it.
been nothing for 2 years.
I understand, but at the same time, we're probably going to end up with Tommy Pham. Like they're probably going to end up with Tommy Pham on a 1 year deal.
Right.
Like if you're watching right now, would you be okay and put it in the
Hmm.
chat? Would you be okay with Tommy Pham on a 1 year deal for like $5 million, or would you lose your
To
you know
start,
what
so he's going to play 130. How many games is he going to start on this 1 year,
120
$5 million?
games,
Oh, and what's he going to hit? 200 with a 300 on base percentage and no
two
power?
250 with a on base of 360,
Whoa. With how many home runs? 9?
10 to 15.
Yeah, it's not great. Who's your third hitter? Who's your third 30 home run hitter? Or who's your fourth 25 home run hitter? They're adding the DH. You got to have some pop. So
You
people
have
want him
to.
back.
Some people
Not
do.
back and forth.
Back and forth. This
He's
is
kind of
this
polarizing.
I'd be very depressed if Faye was on the opening day.
I mean, I
I
like the Pham deal because it got him Cronenworth. You know what I mean? That's what I like most
That's
about
the best
Tommy
part of the
Pham.
deal is it produced Jake Cronenworth. But
I mean,
yeah, it's not looking good for Tommy Pham.
what in the chat you're saying?
Yeah, not looking good. Um, but that's the thing is
He's a fourth outfielder for
you
me, and the
don't
problem is he's
have
going to want to play. Yeah.
you don't really have many options. And while I personally would not want to see Tommy Pham back on this roster for multiple reasons, what other options do they have? They really don't have that unless they go out and get Castellanos, which they were rumored to be
Hmm.
very
Yeah.
intrigued and very heavy in on Nick Castellanos. Unless they want to go that route and spend $150 million, I think it's either they're going big with Castellanos or Bryant, or they're going just the route of the backup plan with Tommy Pham.
Well, again, there's other I saw Will had put at some point in the chat about like a Max Kepler, or about someone that would be like, you'd have to acquire via trade. The problem is the difference between like Kepler and Suzuki or Kepler and Castellanos. Again, like Kepler's kind of like Pham,
Mhm.
in my opinion. Like you get a guy that's major league average. I think Pham's been major league below average these last 2 years in the Padres uniform. Now there's that theory. Pham bounces back. The reason I don't subscribe to that theory, and thanks for watching again tonight. The reason I don't subscribe is he's like old. He's had all these injuries. He's not old by real standards, but in baseball standards he is. And he's had significant injuries. Like, what is there to say, Jim? What mechanism are we using to say that Tommy Pham is due for a bounce back year?
I don't know that he's healthy, that he'd be kind of healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
You know,
That's fair.
after honestly that it was a major injury he had outside the strip club. Like
Yeah, it could
if
have
you
died.
saw it,
Yeah.
it was bad. Like that cut should have ended his career, but it didn't.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe it was a situation where it legitimately would have to take someone a full year, maybe even more, a year and a half, to fully recover from something like that. And if the Padres are viewing it like that, like, okay, last year he still wasn't fully healthy from his injury, and hopefully a full year, calendar year plus
Mhm.
got him back to where we, view him as, then okay, maybe he could have a bounce back year. But if he doesn't, then it's just like another wasted, it's just like waste. Like what are we doing here? And
He
just I
turns
think the issues that Tommy Pham has created, I just think it's just kind of like a move on situation.
he turns 34 March 8th. His 2-year numbers in San Diego, and you could say that there's an asterisk by them because of injury. His 2-year numbers in San Diego, 220, here's the slash, 226, 335 on base, which is 110 points higher than his batting average, 370 slug, 705 OPS. It's just 705 OPS in 2022 baseball when you
Not
have to
good.
have an 800 plus player in corner outfield. Shoot, 800 is not enough for this team. It's not. I mean, they need more than that. I mean, they need more production than that
Mhm.
in this lineup, unless they go out and get Nelson Cruz, unless Tatis, Machado, and Cronenworth all are 900 OPS guys next year. I don't think all of them are. I think 2 of them are. Like, you need a third 900 OPS caliber player. You're trying to beat the Giants and the Dodgers.
Right.
You're trying to make up 28 games. I just
Either
don't
you
see how
have
starting Tommy Pham all season helps you do that.
either you have a third 900 OPS guy, or you have like 4 or 5. You have like 2 900 OPS guys, and you have like 3 or 4 OPS
800.
guys of over 800.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So can Tommy
But
Pham give you an
Pham
OPS?
of
No,
800? No.
no, not
His
happening.
well, his career, I mean, amazingly, his career is 810, and he's been a 705 OPS in 2 years in San Diego. That's
Jesus.
unbelievable in terms of underperforming the trade.
No. Yeah, I don't want him back, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 1-year deal for like $5 million. I wouldn't be shocked. And
No, either would I.
no,
No, either would I.
no one should be shocked, to be honest. Like, you have to know that the Padres organization, they feel very highly on Tommy Pham. Like, they think that this guy, when they brought him in here, they viewed him as like culture changing guy, right? Put him in the clubhouse. He's going to change the culture of the clubhouse from a losing organization to a winning organization, or at least he's going to be a big part of it. Like he wouldn't be like the main guy, but Tommy Pham previously, before he came to the Padres, was on with the Cardinals and the Rays, like 2 organizations that just win. Like
Mhm.
that all they do is win. So bringing over Tommy Pham, you know that Preller's vision was, this guy is going to be a big focal point of us turning it around and becoming a winning franchise. And it just hasn't happened. And I think that there's just too much noise around Tommy Pham. I feel like there's just like, it's not about just, sometimes it's not just about baseball. It's about other things, like getting involved with fans, fighting with fans on social media, like just other things that you're just like, I don't know about that one. So I just I don't
Like,
personally want him back, but again, do not be surprised if he's back on a 1-year deal.
no, I wouldn't be. And again, if it's part of a series of moves, Jim, if you move Eric Hosmer or Will Myers and Tommy Pham returns as a result of some of those moves, but you're also adding the Nelson Cruzes or Seiya Suzuki's or Nick Castellanos, okay, completely understood. But heading into next season with Tommy Pham, for example, as this viewer says, as your DH, and Eric Hosmer as your first baseman, isn't enough offense. So,
It's like
Tommy Pham,
like doing the same thing over again.
yeah. Like Tommy Pham, I've seen some people, we saw it on Twitter because we just did a video, and check it out if you haven't seen it. We just did a video on like 7 DH options for the Padres in 2022. And I saw some comments down below, like when we posted that on Twitter, Jim, at Jim
Mhm.
Russell SD and at John Schaefer, of people saying, well, just rotate through your regulars as your DH. but that doesn't typically serve the purpose of that role. First of all, you
Right.
want Machado in the field. You want Tatis in the field. You want Cronenworth in the field. Secondarily, look at the way American League teams that have had success with the position use the DH. They just plug someone in there 140 times. Yeah, you can give someone a blow. Don't get me wrong. Machado gets a blow. Tatis gets a blow. But like the idea that you just use a regular as a DH, I'm not enamored with. And Tommy Pham would not fit the mold, Jim, because he's a 700 OPS guy. Shoot, 800 OPS guys don't fit the mold. You just want that true hitter that runs into 35 balls, aka Nelson Cruz. That's the type of DH the Padres should have, in my opinion, in 2022, if the DH is instituted as we expect it to be.
And if Tommy Pham, like Gabe said, is like a platoon role guy coming off the bench, and
Yeah,
he's only a 1 year, $4 or $5 million deal,
yeah,
but
I'd be
then
cool
you
with that.
have a Schwarber playing every day. I would be cool with that. I'd be okay with that. Like if you have Schwarber and Pham for a total of like $70 million, those two guys. Obviously, Schwarber would get the bigger contract. Tommy Pham would get like basically nothing, but you're starting to look, okay, our outfield or our missing piece in the corner is Pham and Schwarber for $68 million, $70 million.
And of course, Schwarber would be 3 years
Schwarber's
at
3
that
years, Pham's
price.
a 1 year deal.
Yeah, so really you'd have the 2 for like 25 for the year. 20 for one, 5 for the other, 25 total. Pham's your
It's a
4th
risk.
outfielder.
It's a big risk because
It
they're
is.
both injury prone.
Yep, exactly,
But
exactly.
they need a corner outfielder in the worst way. I think that once this lockout ends, would you agree is the number one priority for this team?
Oh, yeah, I got my phone ready if I'm AJ. Like, I'm already
Like I'm
got
ready to
the
send that
the
text.
agents on speed dial with the corner outfielders.
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, if I could acquire this corner outfielder, will you take Eric Hosmer off?" Like, you got 2 phones. One of them is to get a corner outfielder, the other is to move Eric Hosmer. And the lockout is causing some complications, obviously, because if it doesn't end until pushing up against spring training,
Mhm.
you wonder how active AJ Preller will be in terms of moving some of the players on his 40-man roster,
Yeah.
specifically his 26-man active roster. Like, is it more likely to move Eric Hosmer once this lockout's over, but it's March 1st, or would it have been easier with a full offseason? I think it would have been a lot easier with a full offseason. I say that, though, unless he gets bailed out with his CBA with some type of salary floor. If
Right.
teams need to lift salary in 2022, even just by 10 or 15%, maybe there's a path to move Eric Hosmer. Without that lift, I don't really envision any interest or market for him.
That's why it's kind of hard to envision this team being drastically changed once this lockout ends. You know what I mean? Like if the lockout, like you said, ends with like a salary cap floor for teams, then yeah, that might be the thing to push the Eric Hosmer trade over the hump because teams will need money for the
Mhm.
salary floor. And you can try to sell Eric Hosmer, and that might be a good thing. But if there's not, it's going to be tough to envision this team being drastically different. I still think they'll be after Nick Castellanos, um, but it just would be tough. It's just tough. It's just hard,
Mhm.
for every team that didn't make a big move before the lockout started. So
All right, your questions are coming up next. Before we get to your questions, we want to remind you about Fresh Meal Plan special offer for our viewers only. In the link down below, $40 off. $40 off your first order. You get affordable, delicious, healthy food delivered to your doorstep that cooks in minutes. So if you want to eat healthier, if you want to cook more affordably and just in a quicker manner, I hate cooking. I hate the 45-minute process, the 60-minute process, and you want to eat healthy. Like, everyone hates, spending 60 minutes on food, but then you also don't want to just bring something in that isn't healthy. So if you're looking for healthy, delicious, delivered, affordable food, we have $40 off. Healthy, delicious food. Again, it's from Fresh Meal Plan. The link is down below, Jim. Click the link, you get $40 off. Use the promo code for our viewers only.
yeah, if you're always on the go and you don't want to eat out, you want to be healthy. Like, dude, I don't want to go to In-N-Out Burger for the fourth time this week.
Yes, you
Like,
do.
I kind of do, but I kind of also don't. Fresh Meal Plan is the way to go. All your meals are cooked, ready to go. You just have to heat them up. They're delicious. Actually, I'm going to order some here in a bit. And the best part, $40 off your first order, thanks to the wrap-up show. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But if you do, you're welcome.
If you don't like it, you're still supporting the wrap-up show. The link is down below.
Right.
Click that link down below. All right, we're going to try to get to as many questions as we can. If you want to make sure we see your question or comment, hit the super chat button. You can give super stickers as well. We'll get through some of these questions regarding the lockout, potential free agent moves, or trade possibilities for the Padres. So let's get started here, Jim, on this Sunday night.
If there's a DH, Nelson Cruz. Yes, we talked about DHs. Nelson Cruz, I believe, was our number one DH option.
Yep.
So Nelson Cruz would, I think, be a perfect fit for this team for a cheap 1-year deal, can hit you 35 home runs, and he is a guaranteed clubhouse leader. And you're getting all that for 1 year for $13 million.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
I don't see how they don't get this done. I mean, there's going to be interest, I would think, for him, and you can't give multiple years, and you can't give him $20 million. But like the Padres, if they had interest at the trade deadline without a DH and with a first baseman and Eric Hosmer,
Right.
how do they not have interest, that same interest, if not more, right now, heading into 2022?
Robert Hassel, I don't think he's ready yet.
Too soon.
But he's coming. He's a lot of people's like top prospects in the Padres organization.
Yeah, but soonest is what, 2023? That's soonest?
Yeah, and they need to win right now. Like we're not in the business of talking about 2023, 2024. We're in the business of how are they going to win in 2022? Like that's the only thing that matters is next year. I'm tired of 3-4 years from now.
Yeah, we've played that game.
This is also a name I like too for a cheap deal. Jock Peterson.
100%.
Left-hand power bat. He's like a poor man's version of Kyle Schwarber, kinda. Very poor man's. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's been on a lot of really good teams. He's won some World Series
2 straight years with 2 different teams. He's a good clubhouse guy. He's a great guy to have off the bench. If you need a guy that can just give you a homer at any moment, he's your guy. He might not do it all the time, but the threat is absolutely there. I don't see him as like an everyday outfielder.
No.
But I think we talked about it. If you had a platoon of, Will and Jock in right, or Will and Tommy Pham in left for cheap, that might be good. I don't know if it's going to do the job, but it's better than what they would have.
Right. He's going to hit for power. He's not going to hit for average, although even the power has been limited over the last 2 years. But only a couple of years ago, he's a 36 home run guy. He's still only 29. He'll turn 30 in April of next season. I'm with you. I don't know if it's a flyer. It's probably more than a flyer, what you'll pay for him.
2-year deal.
Yeah, it's at least a 1-year deal with
like
some
2 with
level.
an option.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay.
Potentially.
This is the dream. That's the dream, Will. Tatis, Cron, Manny, Olson, Suzuki, maybe.
I don't know. Okay, so let's entertain that for a second. So you could acquire Suzuki via free agency, the posting fee, right? So you could go out and do that, and you could realistically move. We could at least entertain the idea that they move either Myers or Hosmer, right? We've talked about it for a year and a half, so we can entertain that possibility. So let's just say payroll for payroll is like Suzuki for Hosmer.
Okay.
Then you trade for Matt Olson, but what are you giving up?
You're giving up Abrams. You're giving up Hassel. You're giving up a lot of your top prospects. This is not just like a Campusano and a couple other guys,
Right. That's the thing. Like, yeah, it's probably possible. It's not impossible, but you're literally mortgaging everything.
Right.
For that, Suzuki needs to hit. Olson needs to live up to whatever you give up for him as well. But in terms of winning right now, you'd love where they'd sit if you had Olson in that infield, and that's the promise of Suzuki. I could see one of them, Will. I really could. And I think Padres fans would be thrilled if they landed either Olson or Suzuki. The idea that both ended up in a Padres uniform in 2022, like you said, it's a dream. It might be a stretch, but is it impossible? Probably not impossible. I think it's just probably unlikely.
There's a name we have, I don't think, talked about once. It's a little intriguing. I like it. Michael Conforto.
Yeah, that name's been out there. For some reason, I thought he had signed, but he didn't, right?
He did
He's
not
still out
sign.
there?
He's a
Okay.
Boris client.
Yep.
His numbers are pretty good. I don't have him in front of me, but with the Mets, didn't I think he also had a situation where his shoulder subluxed as well, exactly like
Hmm.
Tatis, and he had to have surgery for it. So
Interesting.
it's intriguing name. It's probably. Uh, I don't know much about Michael Conforto, but I do
He's gonna
know
get paid, though. If it's
he would
Boris,
probably cost a little more than I'd be willing to give him.
yeah, he's only
Not returning to
28.
the Mets, I can tell you that.
Right, he's only 28. I mean, last year he had a .8 WAR, 232 with 14 home runs and 406 AB. So a very disappointing year. He's not going to get paid off that. His 2020, by the way, was not great from a power perspective,
I'm not
but he
even looking at
did hit.
2020 numbers, by the way. Those are
But
like
and he
all
hit. He actually hit. He just didn't hit for power. Um, he's gonna get paid, dude. I mean, 33 home runs in 2019, 927 OPS in
yeah,
2020. He's gonna get. I mean, he's gonna get a fortune. He's
right.
only 28. What's he gonna get? 4 years, 90 million. I mean,
85.
he's gonna get paid. He's gonna get paid. You know.
Yeah. Yep. Kyle Schwarber, definitely a
Mhm.
name. Um, let's see here. Do you think the new coaching staff can turn some of these players around? It's a good question.
Hopefully, I mean, when we talk about some of these players, like who are we talking about? Are we talking about some of the pitching struggles?
I
Because
think
you got Ruben
mostly
Niebla.
pitching.
Okay, so yeah, Ruben Niebla absolutely has that reputation of maybe having some success with some of these guys that didn't have great 2021s. When we talk about hitters, Myers is who he is. Hosmer is who he is.
Right. They're not changing.
Ha-Seong Kim probably can get better on offense, obviously, but he's never going to be what you want him to be offensively. Your catchers, I don't even know what to say about the catchers, to be honest with you. I don't know how much we can expect out of the catcher position in 2022 based on what they have. I can't put that much right. I mean, what is the hitting coach really worth? I mean, I don't think the hitting coach is going to change the lineup. Now, Ruben Niebla could be beneficial for the staff. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and I think the coaching staff could help. It's about the buy-in though. Like it's like you have to get buy-in from the players if the coaches are going to try to do different things. And sometimes that's hard, sometimes that's easy, but I don't think the coaching staff, I mean, we saw what happened in San Francisco. Like the coaching staff in San Francisco definitely changed a lot of those players, years and because they told them to do different things. So it could help. I don't think it's going to like change a lot, but with
Mhm.
pitching, I think that's where you could really see a lot of change with Ruben Niebla.
All right, let's take a 20-second timeout. We got a super chat.
Super chat.
So, first of all, thank you, E-Racing with Dale.
Thank you,
Super
E-Racing.
chat. And if you want us to definitely get to your comment, you can do a super chat like Dale did. All right, Jim, what do we have for our super chat? And thank you.
Uh,
Thank you as well for the
yes,
support.
thank you for supporting the channel. Really appreciate that. Do you guys think we could get rid of Haas if we pay half his salary? And do you think ownership would be willing to pay half? I do think they'd be willing to pay half. I think there was
Mhm.
a moment last year where that was going to happen. And with 4 years left on his deal, around $60 million, I think that if you said you have to pay 30 of it to get rid of Hosmer, I think the ownership group would do that. I really do. I
Yeah,
think Sider would put that money down.
Dale, I think it's a really good question because yeah, the 30 million, the half figure for 4 years is $7 million a year. Just over
Mhm.
$7 million a year. I think you can live with it. I think when you start pushing 40, 50, 10, 12, $13 million a year, you got to really think twice. Probably the same reason why they wouldn't DFA him yet,
Mhm.
because it's 60, not 30. To
Right.
Jim's point, I think at 30, and to Dale's point, at 30, you got to really consider it because yeah, it might cost $30 million, but have you made your team better? That's the thing. You got to remember with Eric Hosmer, like you don't want to just pay him and also put your team in a situation where you're not as good as you would be without him.
Mhm.
So I think you could make an argument where, yeah, for $30 million, if we got a chance to make our team better, we'll write the check for $30 million, which over 4 years is $7.5 million a year.
Right. Yeah, I think they would pay half. It's just you gotta first of all, you have to find a team. Like they had Texas ready to go. Would Texas be willing to do that now with all the moves they made? Like, that's the thing too, is it all makes sense now how Texas was going to take a lot of the money.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the Rangers at the time were kind of getting rid of pieces, but also look at the moves they made this, Simeon and Seager, like they paid what? They're like $500 million invested
Yep.
in
Yep.
two guys. So they
Amazing.
definitely were ready to take probably half of that contract, maybe even more. A name we've talked about, Eddie Rosario. I've said that they already have their Eddie Rosario, and that's Jerkson Profar.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you like it or not, that's where the money for like an Eddie Rosario type went, and also Hassan Kim. You just gotta hope that Profar and Kim actually produce and don't turn into automatic outs like they were last year, and actually have some value to this team. So that's where
Yeah.
I stand on Eddie Rosario.
I'm with you. I'd rather have Eddie Rosario than Jurickson Profar, to be honest with
Yeah.
you, but they have Jurickson Profar, and he's capable of being a player as good as Eddie Rosario, who's had some very good years. He's also had some very average years.
Yeah. A couple more here.
Yeah.
We're pushing almost an hour. All right. Caden says, I don't even think Chris Paddock will pitch. I have a feeling he's going to go under the knife. Yeah, I don't. His
What's your
season ended.
rotation?
His season did not end well, and by not end well, I mean an injury that we all thought was going to be like a couple weeks, and it turned into shutting him down. UCL issue, not good.
Okay, let's talk about the rotation even without Chris Paddock.
Okay.
Because it's not like Chris Paddock has added anything to your rotation the last 2 years. Maybe he did in
I've
2019.
been a proponent to get rid of Chris Paddock, honestly.
Right. So you've got Musgrove, Snell, Darvish, Clevenger. Now, Clevenger, sure, pitch count, innings
Mhm.
count, we get it. Might not be pitching without restrictions until the second half of the year, no question. But he has said he's healthy. I think he starts to begin the year. Sure, he's going to be on a pitch count, innings count. Everyone is. That's 4 just to start. Then there's all types of additional opportunities at 5. Now you're not going to have Morahone until the second half of the year. You're not going to. Nobody
You have
envisions Gore.
Weathers.
You got Weathers.
You have potentially Gore. I don't know what
No,
that's going to
yeah,
happen
probably
with
not
Gore.
Gore. That's why
They're
we've preached the 1-year deal. I mean, you got to go find 2
Who was
pitchers
the
on
player
1-year
they're
deals.
gonna? Was it Nick? What's his name? Nick Martinez. They're
Oh
about
yeah,
to
the guy
sign.
from was it Korea or Japan? He signed a 4-year deal, didn't he?
He signed a 4-year deal, but then they couldn't finalize it, so he still remains a free agent. It was a 4-year deal for like $20 million. I didn't mind it. I think it was an opt out after 2 years. It was
Mm-hmm.
fine. They
He
just
threw a
got
lot of innings in Japan last year, 150.
yeah. So an innings eater. It's not about getting 5 starters. It's about okay, how can you navigate 162 games, and how can you navigate all those innings? Like
Mm-hmm.
in a perfect world, your top 4 guys that we mentioned, Darvish, Snell, Musgrove, and Clevenger, all make 30 plus starts next year. And then you don't really have to worry about your 5th starter. You can do spot starts. You can have Ryan Weathers. You can have Martinez. You can have Lametnik a couple here, Paddock if he's healthy, like Morehone when he gets back, Gore if he's ever called up, other pitchers in your minors. That's fine. But we don't live in a world where you have 4 guys on a roster make 30 plus starts in a year anymore. It just doesn't
Right.
happen. It's very rare.
Yep.
So you need 6, 7 starters to navigate through a 162 game year. And that's why I think the Martinez signing, while it's not like a flashy move, I think that's I think it's going to get done once this lockout's over. That's a guy that can give you hopefully 100, 150 innings. Like that's great. If he gives you 150 innings, you're great.
Yeah,
But
strike thrower last year had a 1.62 ERA
mhm,
and a 6.6% walk rate. So, yeah, I think it's a great move at $20 million. I mean, if you're getting someone that makes 15 starts for you and you're paying him
yeah,
$5 million a year, that's an
right.
absolute bargain. He's 31 years of age. We've seen the reclamation projects come over from Korea or Japan, right? Like the Merrill Kellys
Yeah.
that have kind of changed their careers. There's others, right? Josh Lindblom.
Mhm.
There's others that have done that.
Right. And you win with guys like this. So 150 starts, that'd be good. One more.
2 more.
Um, well, let's do one more. My
One
computer's
more.
about to die.
Oh, is it okay? One more.
This name we talked about, Chris Bryant.
again, I mean, are they going to be in the business of spending like that? And can they spend without moving? And I think it starts if you want Chris Bryant, if you want Nick Castellanos, it all is contingent on Myers and Hosmer, right?
Right. You're not going to get Chris Bryant if you still have Eric Hosmer and Will Myers on this roster. I think Chris Bryant would be a great fit. He's like a AJ Preller guy. You know, he can play every position on the field. He can hit you 30 home runs. His production has dropped a little bit in the last couple years, but he's also going to cost you a boatload of money. And they don't have a lot of money to spend, even though they are at $180 million.
Yeah, maybe a
Right
little
now,
higher.
185 million.
Yeah, it's a big number.
So
Can we thank Mark Nimitz for his support of the wrap up show right now?
yes,
And again, if you're watching us live or on replay, if you have insurance needs, if you're a San Diegan, Mark Nimitz is a huge Padres fan. He's at Farmers Insurance. If you have auto, home, renters, or life insurance needs, you got to consider Mark. He's a friend of the show. He's the title sponsor. He's the reason why we're capable of doing this because of his support. And we ask that you support him as well. If you've got an electric vehicle, he's lowered his rates on select electric vehicle models. He's got a decade plus of insurance experience. He's got great customer service and communication. If you have insurance needs, his link is down below. For our wrap-up show viewers, click the link down below. He can help you and your family with your insurance needs. And thank you, Mark.
and all of his information is above my head as always. Phone number and email address mnimitz@farmersagent.com.
Subscribe to the wrap-up show. If you want year-round exclusive Padres content, that's why we're doing this. Subscribe to the wrap-up show. Hit that button down below. Hit the notification bell. We'll notify you when we have new videos. If you've liked this video, what do you do, Jim?
Smash the like button, please.
You smash
And
the like
thank you.
button. And follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Until next time, for Jim, I'm John. You've been watching the wrap-up show presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.